It's with great sadness that I announce today the death of TC Electronic from my pedal board, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not a good day. I'm a sad boy. This, you may have seen once before. This is the first limited edition of the TC Electronic flashback delay pedal. This is called the Alter Ego. This is Alter Ego version 1. Not the prettier black thing with the blue stripe that you've seen. This is the other one. It has silver lettering, which is almost impossible to read, but it's just a flashback with the fancy paint job. And there you go. It has a couple of different presets in it. When this first came out, I was delighted. I really wanted a new delay pedal because I wasn't sure that my old one was going to keep working for much longer. Let me introduce it to my old one. Have you seen this before? You might remember these. Let me take this off. This is a foot protector. Not protecting your foot. It protects the knobs from your feet because this is so small. This is part of the Dan Electro Food series, as they began to call it. This is the PB&J delay pedal. And this is my all-time favorite delay pedal. This thing is just beautiful. It really is. It's sort of that lovely middle ground between an analog-style delay and a tape-style delay. You know, this doesn't get too dark like some of the analog delays do, and doesn't get bright quite the way, for example, an Echoplex does. Now, I love the Echoplex sound. I think that's fantastic, and I think I'm about to buy one. But this is kind of in between the two, and I really love it. This was great. I bought this in 2003. Plastic. Everyone said, oh, it's crappy. Nobody's going to buy these. They're rubbish. Why would you even want one of those? Yeah, it's a good question. You could buy these in a blister pack in a department store. This is how cheap these were. These weren't even... they weren't even limited to guitar stores. You could almost buy them anywhere. And they sold a ton of them, and they'd introduced a lot of people to the world of effects pedals, and that was a really cool thing. And this was a great pedal. This one has 2 buttons. This one does on and off. On this one switches from the standard long echoes to short echoes for a nice slapback. And I gigged this from 2003 to 2009. I gigged this almost constantly, and my microphone is falling down into my face. I need to fix that. Better. Right, so I bought this pedal in 2003, and I gigged it almost constantly until 2009. This thing was just great. It went with me everywhere. It wasn't even on a pedal board. I didn't even use a pedal board in those days. I had 4 or 5 pedals, and they would go into my backpack, and I would reconnect them for every gig. So, in fact, it was plugged in and plugged out more times than it was ever designed for, and it held up. I had to resolder 1 or 2 of the connections on the PCB once or twice, but other than that, it was great for me. It really lasted the test of time. Yeah, this button fell off and got lost, but I would usually just set it at one delay time anyway and leave it there. So I really didn't care. Aside from the button and the fact that it's cosmetically a little beaten and dirty, it works just as well as it did the day it came out. And when TC Electronic came out with these guys, I think I bought this in 2012 or thereabouts, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, maybe 2013. I've had this pedal about 7 years, I think. When this came out and we had the ability through the TonePrint editor to design our own delay sounds, I cannot tell you how many countless hours I spent copying this pedal. And I've done a really great job of it too. I'm really pleased. This sounds almost exactly like this, except this has a lower noise floor. It was great. So I was thrilled with TC Electronic, and their pedals were fantastic. I got the Hall of Fame. I have the 7-up octave. I've got a tuner. I've got the Spark Boost. They're fantastic. And I was really happy to recommend these pedals to my students and my friends. And a bunch of people got out and bought TC Electronic pedals as a result. And that's really cool. But I have a problem with them now. I've had this pedal 7 years. I've had this pedal 6 years. This one outlasted them all. This pedal, which cost about 1/3 of what these did and made of plastic, works better now than these do. And I'm really disgusted by that. I really am, The selector button on each pedal doesn't select what it's supposed to select now, And the pots are getting scratchy and making noise. This one today, I adjusted the mix and the regen, and my delay went away. It just vanished. It went. I unplugged the pedal and replugged it back in, and the delays came back again. I don't know what to tell you. I can't trust these guys anymore. I don't trust these pedals. After only 6 or 7 years, these should last longer than that one. And these haven't been gigged. Not as much as this one, whereas this one has 3 or 4 gigs every week, 48 weeks a year for the guts of 6 years. You calculate how many gigs this has. My little girl was born in 2016. I hadn't had these pedals more than 2 or 3 years at that point, right? I really haven't gigged since she was born, like at all. These have only home time on them. How is it that these guys, after 6 years of home time, stop working when this one of 6 years of serious amount of gigging is still going? I can't trust this stuff anymore. I'm done. TC Electronic are off the board. And I got so frustrated with the TonePrint thing. When it worked great. The app for the phone, though, that was always a disaster for the iPhone. That was terrible. The app for desktop started off great. Version 2 looked a bit crummy, but that's okay. Version 3 came out, looked a little bit nicer, but version 3 didn't work any better than version 2 did. And then version 4 came out. I lost everything that I had done. All of my settings that I had made for my pedals got lost when version 4 came out. And version 4 wouldn't even work with the Alter Ego, which is just a flashback. It wouldn't recognize it anymore. Honestly, I'm really disappointed. That's just not on. That's not good. TC Electronic, you messed up here. You guys have you had the world in the palm of your hand when the TonePrint thing came out. You could have done so much more with it. The ability for users to be able to share TonePrints together in a meaningful and easy way would have been fantastic. Some way of backing up our work would have been fantastic. We have these things in our list of things to do. Well, you started saying that in 2013, 2014, and that's now 2020, and we still haven't seen it. Come on, guys. You can do better than that. As it is, these are off my board. I just don't trust them anymore. I can't sell them in the state that they're in either, you know? The few pedals I have left, I've got 3 TC Electronic pedals left. They're going for sale this week. Sorry, guys. And that also means I am not going to recommend you to my students anymore. I can't do it. I cannot do it. You know? Pedals are not super high technology. This isn't difficult stuff. Something like this can be made this cheaply nearly 20 years ago and still last the test of time. Look at the pedals from the 60s and 70s. A lot of those things are still going strong. There's no reason why those shouldn't have had worked as well. Shouldn't have had worked. Well, that was a fun one. Anyway, goodbye, TC Electronic. The ride was fun until it wasn't, and now we're dead. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. I'm going to have to buy some new pedals. Too bad. It's just too bad. So long, everyone. Stay happy, stay healthy, keep playing your guitar, okay? Talk to you soon.